Robert Plank Show, episode 42. Finish now, revise later. How to actually get the results and income you want in your internet marketing business. Hey, this is Robert Plank. This is the Robert Plank Show, where we talk about internet marketing, working from home, and building your online internet marketing business. I think I said internet marketing twice. That's okay. We're going to have a lot of fun here. My question to you today is, how are you doing today? Okay, how are you doing today? I'm honestly asking. What happens when you ask the average person? By the way, because you're listening to the show, you are above average. But you ask the average person how they're doing today. What happens? Well, one of two things. Either they don't even hear you and then you just go off on the next thing, right? Like if you've ever been to like a Starbucks and you've been in line and there's someone ahead of you, usually like at a Starbucks or a coffee shop, they'll ask, "Hey, welcome to Starbucks. How are you doing today?" And the answer is, "I'll take a caramel latte frappuccino." Right? No, I mean, it's even just a way of saying hi. And then the other thing that happens with an average person is that someone says, "How are you doing today?" Good. The answer is always freaking good. "How are you doing today?" Good. Every now and then, someone might change it up and say great or something like that. But the problem with replacing one word with another is that there's just no thought into it. There's no self awareness. There's no self actualization. So if someone's asking you how you're doing, don't say good. Don't say great. And even, I mean, it's okay to say stuff like, "How you doing?" It's fantastic, but change it up. Don't give the same answer all the time. If your answer is always "How you doing?" Well, fantastic. "How you doing?" Fantastic. "How you doing?" Not too bad. Change it up every now and then. Have an above average answer. And I'm not saying you have to actually, think every single time and think for a minute before you answer, but be aware of little things like that, like the crutches you fall back on and the words that you end up using over and over again. Along those lines, the word try, I can't stand that word. The word work or starts to, those are probably my top three, okay? And here's the reason why. It's because when you say you're going to try to do something, it sounds to me like you're not going to do it. And I know that people say like, "Okay, well that means that I'm not being too optimistic, right? It means I'll try it, and if it works, it works." But to me, like, try sounds like it's guaranteed failure. Okay, and so instead of saying, "Well, today I'm going to try to make that sales letter, or I'm going to try to complete that information product, going to try to make the ebook, going to try to record the YouTube video," I'm going to record a YouTube video. Don't try to do it. Try sounds like you're giving yourself permission to fail. Same thing with work. Work sounds like something you don't want to do, something that you're doing to make someone else rich, something where you're trading your time for someone else's money. It sounds like almost like work sounds like labor. Work sounds like you're shoveling a ditch or something. Then the other thing is start to is just someone's replacement for try. So if someone keeps saying, "Okay, well I'm going to try to set up a Facebook ad today to send to my webpage," and I say, "Don't say try." It's like, "Okay, fine. I don't say try, but I'm going to start to create a Facebook ad to send to my website." Well, you're going to start to, what does that even mean? That means you'll do it halfway, do it half-assed every time. So try, I mean, I know there's words you can't fully remove out of your vocabulary. If you're a Californian, the word like, we'll probably never be able to stop saying like. But tone it down and maybe just be more aware of the words you use. When you say try, say it maybe half the time. And find something else to say instead of the term work. Instead of starting to do things, just do those things. If you find yourself complaining all the time, the problem is that, well, then once your beliefs get cemented in a certain way, then any of the facts or any of the learning and knowledge you find is only going to exist to reinforce your beliefs. And if you see something that does not agree with your beliefs, it's going to be really tough to learn it. Okay, and so I mean, we've talked about this in previous episodes where if it's your belief that you have to, work minimum wage or someone else has to lose for you to win, or that this whole internet marketing thing's a scam, well, then anything you discover or any information that comes in is going to just reinforce that. And so if you come across some information that conflicts with that belief, then it's not going to compute, and you're going to find a way to think your way around it. right? So if your personal belief is that no one on the internet ever makes more than $1,000 online, and you see someone making $10,000 online, then you're going to find some way of talking yourself out of doing it, or buying a course and implementing, or you're going to find a way of justifying, well, why that person's a liar, or they said 10 grand but it's really $100. So how about this? You might have heard the quote that if someone is angry at you and you honestly haven't done anything to make them angry, then they want to be you. And I don't know who said that, but think about that saying for a second. If someone's angry at you and you have done nothing to wrong them, then that means that they want to be you. And this works both ways. So think about that. And aren't there some people out there, maybe in life or maybe on the internet, who honestly haven't done anything? And it's fine if someone's like for sure a liar, ripped you off, or teaches the wrong thing. I mean, there's plenty of people like that. But if someone honestly is just doing great, making money, even doing what you want to do, and you still hate them, then maybe be a little more self-aware of that kind of thing. If someone's angry at you and you haven't done anything, then they want to be you. But if you're angry at someone else and they haven't done anything to wrong you, maybe that means you want to be them, and you don't want to be stuck in the cognitive dissonance, is called, of thinking one thing and doing another, or saying one thing and thinking another, because then you just drive yourself crazy, right? Where if you're jealous of someone who makes a lot more money than you on the internet, but you're not making that money, but you hate them, but you want to be them, and you want to learn from them, but you don't want to do what they did to get the money, but you still want the results that they got from taking that action. You see where you just start to get your wires crossed. You get to just get so confused and weirded out and things like that. So what are you doing, and what are you teaching, and what tools are you providing that are different? And this doesn't necessarily mean how many hours you worked or how hard you worked. So the best way, and the best a way I know of increasing your output and increasing your productivity and all those cool things, is to complete 4 tasks every day, and that's it, because you get this extra momentum. And notice how I said complete 4 tasks, not try 4 tasks, not start 4 tasks, not work on or chip away on 4 things. Complete 4 things. And when you join us inside of our course at incomemachine.com, there's a link to a special Facebook group where we have a community of people who, all we do in this group is we post our 4 things for that day, and everyone, including me, abbreviates the things they're doing. So it's not like we're giving away, we're not writing a huge novel about what we're going to do, we're not giving away project names, we're just saying finish chapter 1 of the project called BP. Don't know what no one else knows what BP stands for except for us, but we look at that, we can easily see what it is we need to do and if we completed it or not. And so 4 things might be 4 big things or 4 small things. Usually for me, it's 3 45-minute tasks and 1 15-minute task. And one of my tasks will probably be send a quick email to my list, which doesn't even take 15 minutes, but I just get these things knocked out. As opposed to a lot of people who have all these fancy notebooks and columns and quadrants and systems and graphs and stuff like that, who end up using these really complicated time management systems where it's like the overhead of just managing what it is you're supposed to do just drives them crazy, or they plan so many long things that there's a to-do list of other to-do lists, and then they just get so bogged down and so, I don't know, just like unmotivated, as opposed to just knocking out 4 quick things every day. So today's episode is called Finish Now, Revise Later. And let me explain what that means. This week, we are promoting a plugin of ours that we've had for several years called Backup Creator. And this is a plugin where you can basically, we want you to make a site using a tool called WordPress. It's a free tool, and with WordPress you can create a blog, membership site, or sales letter or opt-in page, and just click around, and there's no longer any of this messing with a template, messing with Dreamweaver, front page, HTML, CSS, uploading, downloading, editing code, none of that. It's all point and click with WordPress. So Backup Creator allows you to click a button and then back up your WordPress site to a file that you can put on Dropbox, Amazon S3, or hard drive, and that way, in case anything happens to your website, whether it gets hacked, your web host screws up, you screw it up, or you just want to go back to an old version of your site, no matter what, you can just go back to this file and upload it and get the site right back. What's also cool about Backup Creator is that you can clone it, so you can back it up in one place, go somewhere else, and restore it, and then now you have made an exact copy of your WordPress site. And this is great because if you have a new project, then you can just start from this starting point instead of starting from scratch and just gut the site or change the content or change the colors to what you want. If you're flipping a site, you can sell the site and go up over to someone's hosting and deliver the new copy of your site. If you're providing kind of like a done for you service, I should say, you can have a site set up the way you want it. Like we have a Backup Creator customer who's a chiropractor in Australia, and when other cities in Australia who are chiropractors, if they want a website, he just backs up his chiropractic website, goes over to their new site that he sets up for them, restores it, and then changes some, pictures, changes the name, the address, maybe changes up some of the articles, contact form, but he puts in about 10 minutes of effort, where as opposed to it might have been, weeks of work, which you don't want work, you want effort, you want some results. So that's what Backup Creator is. And at the time we're recording this, it's been out for 3.5 years. And basically, if you don't, okay, you probably don't know anything about computer programming, but the thing about computer stuff is they always break, right? I mean, after 30 years, Windows still blue screens. My iPad, my iPhone, they crash all the time, especially if I'm playing a game. But in this thing called computer programming, about 10% is adding features, and 90% is this thing called debugging. And so we say this today's call is finish now, revise later, because this thing called Backup Creator, I probably shouldn't say this, but it took about 3 days to make the first version. And I kind of messed around for about 6 months before that, proving, doing this thing called proof of concept, saying, well, I want to be able to do this with my backup plugin and getting little pieces and things like that in place. But then to actually do it was 3 days. So after 3 days, we put out that first version, and oh man, it's been so long. We sold 1,000 copies of it in 11 hours, and then 2,000 copies in 24 hours, and then we made it to, I believe, 3,000 copies after 11 days. So it's a little bunch right out of the gate. It still sells every day. At the time we're putting out this call, I think it's powering 89,000 sites. Let me do a quick check here. 85,445 sites. Don't want to overstate that. So 85,000 sites, but along the way, there's been little hiccups. Little hiccups like, well, we need to make it work with this new version of WordPress. If it conflicts with these other WordPress plugins, if they have their site locked down in a certain way, if they have a Linux web host, if they have a Windows web host. So there's tons of things that you don't even see. You don't want to know how the sausage is made there. But behind the scenes, we fixed all these different things so that when you push that button, it always freaking works. It always backs up the site. And so those are little things, and this stuff called debugging. Well, that's not sexy. I can't sell more copies of our backup plugin just because I said I debugged more stuff. So it took 3 days to come on board that first version, but it's been now 3.5 years to fix this and that. And I want to say maybe another thing I shouldn't say is that for the first 6 months, we probably put in 10 or 20 hours of just debugging this and debugging that. For the first 6 months, it was a nightmare. Uh, but after 6 months, it kind of died down, and now it's just maintaining what's taken us all this time to fix up. And what's really cool about this too is, I mean, we're a backup plugin, and there are other backup plugins, and some cost more, most cost more, a couple cost less. The ones that cost less don't really stay around for very long. The ones that cost more, I know that we do a lot of ours works when a lot of them don't. You know how I know why? Because sometimes when we do custom work on other people's sites, I'll go custom work. There's that word again. We do custom, not jobs, but when we log in other people's sites to improve their sites for them, when they pay us money for that kind of thing, I go and I see that before installing Backup Creator, they installed 4 or 5 other backup plugins. And like the free backup plugin, there's free ones, most of them don't work, or they don't work when you need them to, or they don't clone, or I mean, take your pick. So with Backup Creator, we were looking for version 1.0. We were looking to make that one sale because why wait? why are you going to wait another year or two for it to be perfect? And I mean, if you're going to make, say, like a weight loss app, you want to say, okay, well, I heard apps are cool. I know a lot about weight loss. I'm going to make an app. Well, what if this weekend you put together a quick report, a quick $7 report, you put it out there, and then get some traffic to it, get some affiliates, see how it sells. If it sells great, make some videos, add to it, make it $47. Add some checklists, add some meal plans, make it $97, and now you're building a list quickly so that by the time you're ready for that app, you can send your existing list to all that stuff. There's no point in making it perfect. Finish now, revise later. Okay? And so the whole idea of revise later, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of that, right? Because I mean, you never know if you're going to get bored, tomorrow or 6 months from now. So it makes more sense to put something out right now. But most people don't think about the term finished, right? They think that, well, maybe in 6 months this website I'm working on will be finished. Well, it'll never be finished, but it'll be finished for now. And so, like when we put out our Backup Creator 1.0 plugin, it was at that time it was good enough to work on 98% of web hosts. And now it's probably 99.5% of web hosts, and it's never going to get quite to 100%, but it's finished for now, and then we can go back and revise. So that's the Backup Creator plugin. And then so while we've been promoting that, I've been improving a plugin of ours called Paper Template, which we've had this thing for over a decade in one form or another. But in crap, I'm drawing a blank. I want to say 2012, we really started marketing it big time. And it's a WordPress plugin where you can just click around and make an opt-in page and make a sales letter that looks like that white piece of paper, right? You've seen a lot of web pages look like just a white piece of paper, and I mean it's what makes the most money, makes the most sales, converts the best. Whether you have an opt-in page where you're collecting email addresses, which you should have, or a sales letter where you're saying, here's this course, here's this book, buy my course or my book from this white looking piece of paper. And so this week, what I've been adding to it is and I mean, who knows in how many years in the future you'll be listening to this, but I've been adding to creating extra templates to make things look more modern. So you might have noticed that a lot of web pages nowadays have the how do I explain this? The width of the web page goes the whole width of your monitor, right? And you might see these different stripes, like a dark blue stripe at the very top, a lighter blue stripe further down. But then the further you scroll down, it's kind of a piece of paper, but just with no edges. So I've been improving to that and adding these little things. But I mean, if I made the paper template a decade ago and didn't put it out till now, I mean, there's so many reasons not to do that. Other than, well, there's all this money that we've made from it that we wouldn't have been making. And the other thing too is there's something to the way that I use it and the way that other people use our plugin. Okay, and I think it's a lot more because I mean you're never going to guess, and it's a lot more important to see how people use your course, your website, and hopefully you have some kind of software. But in this case, we're talking about software, and it's good to see how people use the software because we don't want to load up a bunch of different things just because it's fun. If you remember Internet Explorer or you remember Netscape Navigator, there was this thing called the blink tag. And I mean, maybe you haven't been around for long enough to remember that. But if you have, if you remember stuff like GeoCities, right? People would make web pages, and you can have the text blink on and off. Now, why did the creators of Netscape browser add a thing called a blink tag? Well, because it was a fun thing to program. What's more fun to spend 50 hours fixing one little bug where sometimes the browser crashes, or to spend a couple hours adding a thing where, hey, cool, I can make text blink on and off. That's more fun. And unfortunately, nerdy computer programmers will go after the task that's more fun or maybe more rewarding, I guess we could say, but not necessarily something that will make you more money. In the same way, I mean, internet marketers and business owners are more gravitating towards making a business card, registering domain names, getting fancy graphics made, building my Twitter following, and not the things that are going to make you money right now, which I would say is if you don't have a list, if you don't have an information product, sort of like which is something for sale, then you need to get on both of those things. And I mean, I'm not sure what niche you're in specifically, but if you want to get if you don't have anything high ticket, put out this thing called a coaching program. If you're really desperate for money, become a dang Uber driver. Get an account on Fiverr and start doing things. I mean, it's just I don't know. There's different kinds of people in the world, right? And some of them will find an excuse for anything, and others who will just say, "Well, here's my goal, and let me even choose a small goal, and let me just get to that point." Now, we all have this thing called a money zone. Now, a money zone means, well, your money zone in particular might be, let's say, between $3,000 and $5,000. And what that means is that no matter what happens in your life, even if like the worst possible things happen, your income will never drop below $3,000 a month. I mean, some people are like that, right? You'll never be at zero. You always find a way to make some amount of money. And on the other flip side, if your upper limit is $5,000, then no matter how much you do, no matter how many websites you make, or how many hours as an Uber driver, or how much you put in the stock market or your bank account, you'll always find a way to somehow self-sabotage and and never get past that $5,000 point. So, I mean, the first step to fixing that is realizing there's a problem. And I mean, you might be in denial. You might say, "Oh, this guy Robert Plank, he's talking about someone, not talking about me." Everyone has a money zone, and so if you figure out where your money zone is, what's the lowest your income has been in the last 5 years, and what's the highest it's been, well, now that's in your money zone, and the first step is realizing when something needs to change. And so, I mean, it's good to be not too tactical and not too strategic, right? So tactical means that you're only looking ahead to your next $100, and we know people like that who they'll try any quick scheme or scam, and then on the other extreme, they'll plan up the next 10 years, which also isn't good. And so in our backup creator product, our plugin, what we've been doing is basically this thing called yearly updates, and it's been kind of cool because the problem, I mean, software is kind of like a TV show, right? With a TV show, they put a lot of money into the first episode, and then they get a lot of people hooked, and then afterwards, it's like, well, they don't want to keep putting the same amount of money they put into that pilot episode every single week because they're going to lose money and they're going to get tired out. So with a TV show, it's like in their best interest to slowly get crappier and crappier and keep making the money off the commercials. And software's a lot of the same way. You put a lot of time into that first initial feature, the first initial debugging, but then what? Then you have to maintain that software because you find new bugs, you add new features which cause bugs, things break. So and the answer to that is you model what the people making money are doing and do that. So with this thing called WordPress, the industry standard is to have yearly updates. Yearly updates means that, well, if you buy a WordPress theme for $300, then great. For the next 12 months, you can update that and get the latest, version. And if you have any issues, go to the support desk, and for free, they will help you out. But if you wait 13 months and you have an issue or you need the latest and greatest version, you need to renew for another year. Now, what's cool about that is, well, a couple things. Is that you can wait 3 or 4 years until there's an issue and then upgrade if that's what you want, or just get it, and if it keeps working, there's no reason to upgrade. And so when we were trying to, when we made Backup Creator, we got a bunch of sales, as I said, and we kept building it, and we were like, well, how do we make even more money from this? Because at the end of the day, sure, you can build a big list, sure, you can put in a lot of hours, but what's the point unless you actually make money? So the answer was, well, first to have a high ticket and a low, or not a high ticket, but a mid ticket and a low ticket version of Backup Creator, right? At the moment, the $47 version will allow you to do all kinds of cool, crazy stuff, right? You can do automatic backups, you can back up to S3 and Amazon, you can upload from your web browser, and then the $7 version only allows you to use it on 5 sites as opposed to unlimited, and it just backs up and restores and clones. But there's nothing automatic. You don't have all the cool fancy extra features. We did that because we want to make a bunch of $7 sales, but if people actually are serious and want all the cool stuff, then they buy it at $47. But we don't want them to buy it at $47 and then put in all this extra effort and maybe even lose money in the long term. So what we tried a couple different things, and someone said to try, or here we go again, right? To try. Someone said to charge yearly. So we put a button on our webpage. We didn't try to put a button. We did put a button on our webpage that said Backup Creator. You click the button and you agree to pay $47 per year. It was this thing called a recurring button. So if you buy it on January 1st, 2020, then on January 1st, 2021, it hits your bank account again. And this sold almost zero. And then we did something else where we had a button where I think they paid like $1 now, and then in 7 days they paid the remaining. Totally bombed. We changed it to in a month from now. The rest of it totally bombed. But what actually is still performing quite well is to just have the $7 button, just have the $47 button, and then now it acts the same way these other WordPress plugin companies sell their plugins. You buy it for $47 today, and you get 12 months of updates, which means that if you have an issue, go to the support desk for free. You can click the button and update. But then if you wait 13 months or 2 years or 4 years, what you bought will still work, but then you will have to renew. And I don't have the exact numbers. Lance has who does the accounting, he has better numbers of all that stuff. But it was something like 25% of people keep renewing year after year. So we thought, cool, what else can we add to this to make it better? And we tried or we did it. We added different things. See, I'm catching myself now, and maybe I mentioned that because I personally have been using the term try too much, and so now I'm being a little hard on myself. So we didn't try to add new offers. We added new offers, like we added a course that sold okay, but what sold really well, once again, looking at what our competitors, if you want to call them enemies, sure, I guess, looking at what other people in our industry did, there's this thing called a developer license. Here's what that means. It means that you buy a Backup Creator and you can use it on one of your own sites. You can use it on 1,000 of sites that you own. But if you want to use Backup Creator on a client site, this does not mean you can sell it to them or give it to them, but it means if you have a client who you're building a website for, you can log into their site and you can use our plugin on their site. And by the way, when you use Backup Creator, to be honest, it dials home to our website so we can see where you use it. That's just how these plugins work. They call home is what it's called. So this plugin is $47 and the developer license is a flat $100. So that means if someone wants to use our plugin on unlimited sites and use it to back up other people's sites, it's the $47 purchase plus the $100 developer license. Okay? So it might think, well, that's crazy amount of money. Well, it's not, because a lot of these people charge 300, 1,000, or multiple thousands to run a backup, or to clone a site, or to just do any of these fancy things, or to set up one of their own templates. So with most of these people who buy this thing called a developer license, they buy it once, they make their money back right away. The developer license is not a yearly renewal. It's a lifetime type of deal. So someone might buy the backup plugin for $47, get developer for $100, and then cool, that's it, they're done. Later on in the future, they might want to update again, years down the road, pay another $47, and then there you go. But that developer license does not have to be renewed, if that makes sense. So to recap so far, Backup Creator, $7 version, $47 version, but to be honest, only about 10% of our customers get the $7 version. So just to make it really simple, $47 version for Backup Creator Ultimate, right? Which does most of the stuff. That is every year to renew, which is optional. And then we added this $100 developer license, which is just one time, lifetime, that's it. So that was a lot of fun, and that was another nice little boost. I don't have the exact numbers on that, but it was a noticeable amount of income for literally doing nothing. If someone buys the developer license, literally nothing changes about our plugin. There's no extra bonuses, no extra features unlocked, just that $100 developer license grants them the ability to use it on client sites. And that's it. And the way that that's enforced is then if someone has an issue, which is very rare, but sometimes people have issues when technical things are involved, or they don't know how to use a certain thing in Backup Creator, even though we have a manual, a PDF guide for that, but that's fine. If they go to the help desk, and if they're using the software out of compliance, then we might end up shutting them down, right? Because if they're not paying that $100 and using it on someone else's site, they need to get that license. Otherwise, it's not fair to the people who do pay, if that makes sense. So we added that developer license, and that was a nice noticeable boost in our income just from having that. Just from saying, we have this plugin, how else can we monetize it? Well, we don't want to have a bunch of different levels or a bunch of different packages, and most people go for the full in the full price. So let's add this thing called developer. So what's really cool about the way that we do this is that it's definitely in our best interest, because, well, not only do we use Backup Creator, so we're always going to maintain it, but it feels really good to have all those yearly renewals. Even though someone might have bought Backup Creator in 2011, they're still updating every year, and we're still getting paid every single year, and I mean literally every single day, from doing nothing. Or just from, maybe we'll fix a few bugs, but just, I mean, the software's done. The software's finished. It's never quite perfect, and we might find little bugs might creep up to for us to revise, but it's always in that finished state. We use it every day. People use it every day as well. So $47 yearly, $100 developer, and you know what? To be honest, I mean, of course, I want you to buy a Backup Creator, but I'm not explaining all this to try to or to sell you Backup Creator. I'm saying this for you and whatever your personal situation is, right? Because we know people who they'll even sell like a course, and then they might sell like an agency license, it's called, and in their membership software, they will say, well, you're buying this weight loss course, but if you yourself are a weight loss coach, you pay this extra fee, and now you can create other accounts underneath your name. Or if you have weight loss coaching clients, you can just give them access to the site, and now that you've paid this fee, now you're allowed to do that. So the final component about this Backup Creator licensing thing we've been doing, and playing around with it and getting it to the finished point and looking at how much money it makes. Because, by the way, if nothing's completed, then you don't know how much money that's going to make you, which is the most important thing. It's just going to be this thing that's you're imagining in your head, right? Now we have a lot of plugins. We have a plugin called Backup Creator. We have a plugin called Plugin Dashboard. We have Paper Template, and all those things sell. But the biggest seller, to be honest, is Backup Creator. So we put out different things, and the thing that makes us the most money is then the thing that I'm going to go pay the most attention to. The thing where I'm going to market it more. The thing where I'm going to add more features because it is worthwhile for me to do that. So 47 yearly, $100 developer. And then one thing that we then went back and looked at, because, by the way, once you have something out there, now you can go back and look at what worked and what didn't. And so we were looking at more ways to make money from Backup Creator. The yearly renewals were nice. The developer option was nice. And one thing that Lance looked at, like looking at the accounting, was he said, okay, well, the average, I forget what the number was, but he averaged out how long someone renews Backup Creator. And let's just say maybe he figured out it was like 2 years was the average renewal, or maybe 3 years or something. So then we worked out this thing called a lifetime membership. Now, I'm really cautious about this thing called a lifetime membership, because, especially, like, say if you're selling content, if you're selling like a monthly content kind of membership site, like, we have a membership site called Double Agent Marketing where we meet every month. We have another called Webinar Crusher, where literally there's a bunch of cool content in there. Every month we add new things, and every month we meet once again. And so people are paying $50 a month, and I could say, well, for 500 or for 1,000, you can just be in for lifetime. But what would happen? Well, I'm kind of punishing myself if that works out, right? And I know that, maybe money's tight right now, maybe you need to get a quick bunch of cash. But here's the problem: is if you have a $50 a month membership site, and then you say, okay, well, for $300 you can get lifetime access. Well, what is that doing? It's taking people who might have been paying you for 6 months, for 12 months, for years to come, and then now they're paid off. And then now it's like the longer you have to keep making content for that kind of site, the less money you're making per hour per month, right? And the site keeps dying, 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 until finally you're just like, well, that's it. There's no point in me maintaining this if I'm not making money, but yet you promised lifetime access. So that's why, just to be totally honest here, that's why I prefer to not have this thing called lifetime access. If I have a monthly membership site, great, because the money motivates me to make more. We have this backup creator plugin, and it's a nice balance between, well, you buy it, and if you wait a year, it's not going to shut off. It's still going to work. But if you want the latest and greatest things we add to it, then you can renew, which then pays us more money, which gives us motivation to add even more stuff. It's a nice little cycle. So as far as this optional yearly renewal, let's say that Lance figured out the average person stayed in for like 2.5 years, right? If we said some stayed in for 2 years, some stayed for 3 years, if the average is like 2.5 years, well, we created this thing called a lifetime buyout, basically. And I think it was right now at the moment, it's probably going to change. At the moment, it's $147 to buy lifetime membership, lifetime updates to Backup Creator within the members area. Very important. And the same thing with the developer. Is you go to backupcreator.com, there's only two options. And I mean, if I had my way, it'd probably only be one option. A confused mind never buys. You go to backupcreator.com, there's the $7 version that does a backup and restore, and that's it. And then the $47 version that does all the cool stuff. At that page, it's the only choice to make. You choose 7, you choose 47. Once you're in the members area, then if you want, you can, after your support expires, if you want, you can renew. Okay, if you want to use it as a developer, as if you want to install on client sites, there is that button for you to add on to that after you have your purchase. So this thing we added is called lifetime membership for 147. And so, long story short, Lance worked the numbers and figured out what's the average amount of time somebody renews, which we can only tell based on this plugin being out there for now 3.5 years. And then we made a button which was just about that number. So that way it's not like we're taking any kind of a hit. So there's this button for 147. So basically, if you think about this, for someone to fully buy lifetime access, they'd have to first pay the 47 to buy the plugin in the first place. And then on top of that, so 147, so they're basically paying $200. So they're basically paying for, what would that be, 5 years worth of updates. So we're still winning. It's not like we're saying, okay, $47, and then to renew for 1 year it's 47, but then to get lifetime it's 67. Because what's going to happen? You're going to think, as far as a marketer or checking your conversions, so to speak, you're going to think that, okay, well, now everyone's taking this higher ticket offer. Now I win. Well, you're not going to win because you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not looking more long term. You're taking people who might have been renewing for 4 or 5 years, and now they're just renewing for that 1 year. So when we have this thing called lifetime, that's just a result of us looking at the current situation, running it by the numbers, and being really careful about not shooting ourselves in the foot and not being paid more to get paid less later. All right, so I hope that makes sense as far as Backup Creator, where this is a plugin where first our goal was to have it finished. We wanted something that was just functioning, okay? And we wanted to sell a good amount, which we did. We wanted to build a list. And then we added more features, increased the price, created the light version, like the lower ticket version. And then we looked at, okay, this yearly update thing, how do we enforce that? Because we planned that from the beginning, but then we had to figure out how to make it so that if they waited a year, the plugin would still work but not update. And then we're looking at how to add upsells. The course didn't really play out that well, but the developer license did. And then we said, well, then how do we squeeze a little more blood from the turnip? Let's add this lifetime option, and then that is what played out for us as well. So finish now, revise later. And this applies, I know we talked a lot about software and what I'm doing personally and things like that, but you need to have something out there, all right? It's easier to edit crap than air. If you make those first handful of sales, if you get yourself to $100, get yourself to $1,000, then you'll actually get motivated to do more things. And I mean, a problem you're going to have down the road for sure is to break out of that money zone. But let's not create problems. Let's not look for problems. Let's get this first hurdle out of the way, which is for you to get some kind of website online, and you can get past that hurdle by going to incomemachine.com. That's our system for, and Backup Creator is included with that, plus a couple of our special clones. So you can click and make an opt-in page, make a sales letter, sell a product, have a membership site, and then increase and build from there. I mean, I can't stress this enough, is that we're all our own worst enemy. We all tend to put one foot on the brake when things are cranking, when things are going. And the best thing for you to do right now is to finish something, is to have some kind of website, is to have some kind of place to send people who want to buy from you, because everyone's going to need certain things. Everyone's going to need to make a website. Everyone's going to need a membership site. In your case, everyone's going to need to know how to flip real estate. People are going to need to know how to trade in the stock market, how to lose weight, how to draw cartoons, all kinds of stuff. So the first step for you personally, I'm talking directly to you, is to make a website. So how are you doing today? Hopefully not just good. I know it's not good. I know it's not great either. It's better than great. It's fantastic. It's fabulous. It's whatever is personally your current status for this week. It doesn't have to change every hour, but how about for this week? If your current status, how you doing, is better than fantastic. Who knows, right? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, your status is a 20. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's better than being an average schlub who's everything's just good, everything's just okay. It needs to be better than okay. All right. So finish now, revise later. Get that site out there. Complete 4 daily tasks so you can get that momentum. It's not good to overplan, just as it's not good to only be looking 2 inches ahead of you in the fog of just getting your next $100. And then what the average person does is they're desperate for money. They're willing to do anything. They go and actually put some effort into their online business. They go and flip a website or something like that. But then a month later, they're right back into the same dang hole. So it's important for you to be aware of that. And if your beliefs need changing in order to actually pay off your debt, build up a savings account, live below your means, things like that. If that means that for the next 5 years you have to live in a 1-bedroom apartment instead of a 5-bedroom apartment so that you can actually have zero debt, or you can actually pay off your car or something like that, well then do it. And I mean, you're on your own journey. I'm not sure what niche you're in. I'm in software, but you might be in an information product kind of business. And if so, I mean, I have the software, I have the plugins for you. You use WordPress and then an income machine. We show you how to set up WordPress, how to get your paper template online to make your opt-in page and sales letter, how to use our plugin called Member Genius, which is also included to sell your membership site, and our Backup Creator plugin, which I've been talking about this whole call, is included. So you can just go and click a button and it just installs all that stuff for you. So that's incomemachine.com. I'm Robert Plank. Finish now, revise later, complete your 4 daily tasks every day. Don't try to complete, don't start 4 daily tasks. Complete 4 business building related tasks every single day. I'll talk to you very soon. Robert Plank, The Robert Plank Show. Have a super fantabulous week.